Well, that's an interesting question because there are lots of different contextual situations here, right? So the first one is, what's the intent of the new management? Oftentimes, wiping out the entire CCO means that the board or someone else is installing new people at senior management seats. Oftentimes, that's what happens. And in order for them to do that, they have to get rid of the old way of thinking and introduce a new way of thinking, right? So there are good reasons to do that and bad reasons to do that, right? So bad reasons is normally, hey, take Musk as an example, right? We need to cut 50% of the people no matter what. And then lots of people are going to be unemployed, lots of people are going to kind of work two jobs because there's a lot of work and so forth, right? It's tough, less budget, more work, and that sort of environment. In other cases, it's more about just focusing on new direction, a new product, a new initiative, and so forth. So in those cases, there are always people who are screwed, and there are some people who are going to remain there, right? The question is, first off, are you hardworking enough, and are you in charge of the right activities so that you can remain employed in the first place in that organization? Are you valuable enough? Are you providing enough value? Do people like you? And it's not about just having party with people, but actually respect you, trust you, and so forth, accept you as a leader, even as a mid-level manager. So again, kind of depends on where do you fall in both lines. I'm going to use the Musk example once again because it's kind of something relevant, right? Whenever you change management, you enforce new processes, new workflows, new strategy, and new everything else. The company is likely not going to go under. There are very few reasons why a company is going to go under after the fifth year and after having 20 plus people, right? Very hard to just kill a company, completely wipe out 100% of its revenue. So that means that the company is probably going to survive with a different culture. So in a few months, you're going to understand what the new culture is, and everything again comes with pros and cons. There are some things that are going to be better. There are some things that are going to suck more. In the case with Elon, if you're a hard worker, if you're a grinder, if you're someone who really wants to get better and tackle bigger challenges and so forth, working in a small team with fewer people, being in fewer meetings, moving fast, which is the kind of the definition of a startup, is actually 10 times better than working in a corporation with lots of meetings, with asynchronous communication, with remote working, with everything else that's making collaboration and progress and innovation and brainstorming so much harder. So there are lots of cases where companies moving to that level of organization, growing to corporate, enabling remote, moving to slower processes, their best staff oftentimes quits and goes to more progressive organizations, right? So you end up working with people who are less interested in developing a better organization, right? And understanding that actually really tells you a lot, right? Sometimes with that old management, everything is chill, you're not working that much and stuff, but actually your top performers leave because they get better opportunities to work with other top performers. And again, it really depends, there are lots of nuances and so forth. It's more about try to make sure that you're actually a valuable asset, right? When external management comes in and takes a look at your kind of 12-month hierarchy or so forth, the history of kind of your last year, they see some wins, they see some progress and so forth. Second, try to work in a position that's of value, right? Normally these are kind of revenue generating roles or kind of infrastructure roles, the core of the business, kind of what's the core function of the business. The closer you are to the core function, the more valuable you are because it's a direct trigger to cut costs or make more money or grow something or kind of differentiate a new business model. And having that, again, kind of it's really up to you whether the new culture makes sense or not, but it definitely takes a few months until you kind of figure out what the new ownership really needs.